Combining all of those skills together, the art and the science, the thinking and the doing, was what resulted in the exceptional result.
What's going on, my fellow YouTube traders? What I want to do today is review Friday's action, Friday, November 8th action. Not too much going on as of lately overall. The S&P has been kind of slow compared to, the Nasdaq at least is moving a little bit more. Crude's moving, but the ES in general has been sluggish. We had a decent range, which was put in pretty much towards the last 30 minutes of the day. We had 20 points worth of range, but overall volume is still lighter than usual. But that's what we want. We tend to expect once we get to all-time highs, which we've been just hovering around now for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. We keep gapping up, making new highs, balancing, and then seems to be putting in another gap higher. So that's what the market is presenting us. But in today's order flow lesson, what I would like to do is go over what it looks like when you have some pretty good selling here, which you'll see here when at the top of the range that was put in prior to the pop. You notice, let's just get right into it. You'll notice right here that after this push up on good volume and good delta, we tend to go sideways. So if you look at this entire portion right here between 86 and a quarter, or not 86, but if you just see that right here at 86.50, we put in a one tick higher top than this 86.25, and we kind of go sideways for, I don't know, this was 2 3 hours. If you can see right here at the bottom, it's a long time to kind of do nothing. But what you'll see is at the top uh, of this range, we put in a sell side divergence. Now we've talked about this in the past of other videos of how you can scalp these sell side divergences if you're not in a position, or if you want to just scalp around this market. But what the the environment that we've been in is that there hasn't really been any selling. So even though we do get divergences, the overall theme, the overall trend is up, right? We've been up, we've been going higher and higher since mostly since the beginning of October. We've just been in a trend up, sideways gap up on all the macro global news that's been going on. So I apologize about that. So what we want to talk about in this one is pay attention to the amount of aggressive selling that we're seeing here over the 2 hours or 3 hours that we were stuck in this uh, basically 4 point range. So we went from 86.50 to a low rotation of 82.50. So that's a minus 4 point rotation, right? That's pretty normal, a pretty normal rotation on good days. So nothing really major, but as you can see here, we had constant selling that price really didn't react to. So if you look at this middle pane right here, this is delta. This is showing the difference between aggressive buying and aggressive selling. Remember, there's never more sellers than buyers. That's the biggest misconception here. There's just the difference in aggressiveness. And as you can see here, we've had aggressive sellers as delta continues to deteriorate down to the sell side. Price isn't doing much. So we constantly get these rotations that end in a negative sell side divergence, and we're just slowly migrating down here. So what does this do? So this can give us an indication. It can say, A, there's a seller in here, whether these are longs who are, longs wouldn't aggressively get out of their position, but maybe they are, or there's just a seller up here who's willing to hit the bids in hopes to fill an order and push the market lower. However, when we do not get a counter rotation, okay, let's think about this. When you see a lot of selling, okay, when you see all this selling coming in, all this selling coming in, but price doesn't really do much. We stay in this box. What does that say? What does that mean? Well, two things. One is just that there's a ton of passive buying in here, right? There's somebody here who's willing to stay on the bid and passively absorb everyone slamming in to the offer. So we have the bids, right? And then we have ask. Okay, remember that's how the market works. So we have people that are slamming into these bids, and somebody here, you guys can refer back to my other videos, could just be constantly, reloading, so price can't migrate lower. If this is price, it's not moving lower. So what happens is, once these people, collective group, we don't know who they are done filling their sell side orders and price could not move any lower, what happens? Well, the minute we get that opposite force come into the market on strong delta, right? Look, 4,200 lifted the offer, so that's strong buyers now hitting into those offers and lifting, and then we have good volume, 70,000 contracts trade into this rotation. We now get two things. We get most likely buyers who are buying into the close of the day, because this happened towards the last half hour of the cash session, and then we have people who trade the flow like ourselves that see that, damn, we're not getting any movement from these shorts that we're putting into. So what happens? Well, we're going to close our position unless you want to hold over the weekend. We're going to close. So what happens when you're a short? You're a buyer now to close your position. So now they're adding on to the buy side, which causes the market to rotate higher. And then you have this battle here with a lot of volume, and you have a quick pullback, and this pullback is probably for people who didn't get out saying, shit, let me get out now. So now they're buying again, now they're buying again, and then you have, market on close orders and end of day rebalancing and all that stuff that happens on the institutional side that I don't want to get into. And the market pushes higher. So just to recap, this is something that you want to pay attention, is that if the flow is aggressive in one direction, as we again note here, but price is not moving down, then what you want to do is quickly observe that and say, okay, I'm either going to close out my position for a small scalp or break even, or flip it and now go on the momentum, on the opposite side of the momentum, and maybe capture 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points, whatever you can capture, whatever your target is for the day. So this is really important, because we talk about sell side divergences, buy side imbalances or divergences, but we also have to put it in context with what is the market doing, what is price telling us, which is telling us that nothing's happening. Okay, this big up rotation, well, it's not big, it was 6 points, but decent volume. They never were able to bring it even close to open. This is the opening price, or not even to mid. This is mid. This is 50% retracement. So all this buying held. So you can see here this 2050 by 1850. Look at that. That pretty much held the low rotation, and then they bring it right back up. So the whole point of this video is I want to stress that yes, we pay attention to the flow, but we also need to incorporate a few other market generated information, which is price, which is structure, which is time of day, and I go into more in depth with that with people who I try to coach, and people who I'm just trying to explain to what order flow is. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I know I don't do as many of these videos as I used to. I just have so much going on, and trading is my main focus, and I have a fund, and I just need to make sure that that gets taken care of first, but I really want to help out as many people as possible. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, and I will get to you guys as soon as possible, with answering any questions you may have. All right, hope you guys are doing well, trade well, and I'll catch you later. Peace.
Combining all of those skills together, the art and the science, the thinking and the doing, was what resulted in the exceptional result.